We are so happy to be joined by Bleacher Report guru, my old friend, Damon Sayles. Hi, Damon.
What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm all right. Do you realize that we've known each other for I don't know, 10 years?
Well, I don't know. Carry the one, and I guess add
Man,
two, and
we're,
yeah, it's about right.
we're getting old,
Pretty close,
man.
yeah.
We're getting
We are
old.
getting old.
But now,
Pretty close.
you're big timing over at Bleacher Report. You're their national analyst and columnist for Bleacher Report and covering recruiting. And I want to ask you a question. We were talking about this before you came on about you have your background in high school football, and now you are focused, not entirely, but a lot of your focus is based on recruiting. How do you strike that balance between covering recruiting and covering high school football as a standalone product?
Honestly, I think I think it all kind of goes hand in hand. The common denominator of this business, and you know this, is just to have relationships with coaches, have relationships with players. With recruiting, you add the relationship with parents and with individuals who are close to these athletes. So it's one of those deals where you just really have to know your people, know who you are. So I think both of them from high school football and college football recruiting. I think they both go hand in hand. They do an excellent job together. There's some coaches that don't like recruiting, and I can understand that. But in order to do this thing right, it's all about building those relationships and making sure that communication is the key. And that's kind of what we were taught in J school. So you've got to make sure that's a priority.
We're talking with Damon Sayles of Bleacher Report here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. The big fish out there in the class of 2016, Damon, is Allen offensive tackle Greg Little. Two questions for you on Greg Little. One, is he worthy of the hype that everybody is putting on him? And secondly, where do what is the status of his recruiting and where you maybe see him landing?
Well, to answer your first question in one word, absolutely. This guy is, without a doubt, one of the best offensive tackles to come in recruiting in a 3-4 year span. And this is including guys like Laramie Tunsil and Campbell Robinson. Greg Little can be every bit as good as those guys because of his technique. Not because he's the strongest guy, not because he's the fastest guy, but the bottom line is, from a technical standpoint, he is murder to try and out-duel if you're a defensive tackle or a defensive end. And that's what it's all about when you're an offensive tackle. The whole idea is to keep these guys away from your quarterbacks. He does that better than most and better than a lot of people at the college level now. So, that's the reason why he's such a highly recruited guy. And right now he's got he's got 5 schools. I think he's down to about 3, but he's got 5 schools that he's looking at: Alabama, LSU, Georgia. 1, 2, 3. Who else? Auburn, and I'm missing somebody here. Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss. So he's got those 5 schools. He's going to head to Alabama this week to check out the Alabama LSU game. Obviously, that's going to be a huge, huge game, not just for the Tide and for the Tigers in regards to the SEC West implications, but this is a chance for both of those schools just to show this is what we do against the big names. This is what we do against the top dogs of the SEC. So you can bet that he's going to be paying attention to that game. He's going to make his decision on November 13th, and it's going to be interesting. I really feel like it's going to come down to Alabama and LSU, but that's just a gut feeling. That's not anything that he's told me. He has mentioned that he loves all 5 schools, and rightfully so. He's got a great list of programs there. So November 13th is going to be a fun day, no doubt.
Of course, it goes far beyond just the 5 stars and those guys. If you wanted to shout out one recruit, one guy that you think could be a sleeper that everybody in the state of Texas, that everybody should maybe, they could be the cool guy around the water cooler when they say, oh yeah, you got to pay attention to this guy. Who would you shout out?
Wow, there's quite a few guys out there.
I'm making you pick one. I'm a
He's
jerk.
making me pick one. I mean, from a sleeper standpoint, it's tough because there's so many guys out there. I really like Audio Matosho, who's wide receiver. They call him El Presidente, and he's a guy who, when you look at his list, he's got quite a few offers, but he's a name that nobody's talking about. So in my eyes, that classifies as a sleeper guy. He's going to be a player who, wherever he ends up, he's going to be an instant go-to guy. He can play a slot. He can play an outside receiver. He's one of those players who is just going to really blend in wherever he goes. He's going to make a lot of catches, and he's going to be the guy who really moves the chains, makes things happen for whichever team that he attends, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him. But I mean, when you say sleeper, there are quite a few guys out there. I mean, it's really, really, it's just tough, man. Another guy I really love is Marvin Terry. Defensive end linebacker hybrid, kind of a jack linebacker type over at South Oak Cliff. He's more of a 4-star guy, but he's about 6'1", 220, so he's not the prototypical defensive end size, but he plays the game so well, and he's going to be a factor. He's going to be a main guy wherever he ends up. So, I mean, there are a lot of sleepers out here. We're in the state of Texas, so, I mean, we've got a lot of players to keep an eye on, a lot of big-time sleepers, and some of these sleepers are going to turn into big-time athletes at the college level.
We're talking with Damon Sayles of Bleacher Report here on DCTF Live. Dame, right now, you cover recruiting from a national perspective. You're not just focused on Texas. You cover it from a national perspective. This year, in the class of 2016, how does the state of Texas and the crop here compare to other states?
Well, I think each and every year, Texas is always going to have its share of studs and top-notch guys. When you look at Texas, people are always going to say, where's the best talent? Is it coming from Texas, or is it coming from Florida, or is it coming from Georgia, or is it coming from California? And Ohio is always often in that mix as well. So, I mean, when you look at those 4, 5, 6 states, however many it is, there's going to be talent each and every year, and that's just how it goes. But I think from a talent level, from a talent perspective, in this state, Texas is looking just as awesome as it always does. Now, the big question involves how many of these guys are looking to go out of state and play ball. Remember, back in the day, it wasn't long ago, that all the star players from the state would stay at state, play at Texas A&M. Some would go to Baylor back then. You go to TCU. Now you're looking at these guys looking at Ohio State, looking at Alabama, looking at Georgia, Arkansas, going West Coast, USC, UCLA. The big question now, can you keep these guys in state? Because these kids now get a chance to see these games on TV. They do their research. The internet is an awesome tool, and they use it well. They Google these schools, so they're doing their research. They're getting a chance to see some of these different environments and whatnot. That's the huge question for these Texas coaches, Texas universities out there. Can you keep these guys in state? I think for the most part they can, but there are going to be some studs out there who leave the state. Greg Little's going to be a prime example of that.
He is Damon Sayles. Check out his fine work at BleacherReport.com. And, of course, follow him, an essential Twitter follow, at Damon Sayles. Damon, appreciate you hopping on with us, bud.
No problem, man. Anytime you need me, let me know.
All right, man.